The face you wear says, sovereign, calm, untouchable, in control. The man in the mirror tells the truth. Tired, alone, guarding a room nobody's trying to enter. You didn't master yourself. You sentenced yourself and learned to call the cell a fortress. One of those men is fake. You already know which. That room, the one you're guarding. Look at how it filled up. You went quiet on purpose. You called it a boundary. You left the message on read and waited for the pull, the double text, the panic. The person who finally understood your worth the second they lost access to it. You were running a bluff. You thought the silence would bend them back toward you. It didn't. She didn't fight the wall. She exhaled, and she left. That look on her face wasn't the one you rehearsed. It wasn't longing. It was relief. The job filled your chair by Tuesday. Nobody stood at the gate begging you back. There was no gate. There was a spreadsheet, and your name came off it clean. The group thread, you went silent and didn't slow down. It sped up. They clocked you were gone for maybe a day. Then the jokes kept landing without you, and the plans got made with your name nowhere in them. Somebody sent one, you good. It came late. It came once. And when you left it on read to prove a point, the point landed on no one. They shrugged. They had their own rooms to guard. Every door you shut to make them feel it. The house got one room quieter, and nobody heard it close but you. Here's the shock, the one your ego can't swallow. Your disappearance wasn't a mystery. It was a convenience. You thought you were withdrawing power. You were just easier to schedule around now. The vacuum you were counting on, the ache that was supposed to pull them back, it never formed. The world doesn't ache for a man who leaves. It adjusts. It closes the gap in an afternoon, and by the weekend, it's forgotten the shape of you. And under all of it, the thought you never say out loud. If I let anyone in close, they'll see the sovereignty was just fear wearing a crown. That's the real tenant of the room, not you, the fear. You just pay its rent and call it discipline. Every year you keep standing guard, the thing you walled off to protect gets smaller. You're defending an empty cell and calling the quiet respect. You didn't protect your peace. You evicted everyone from it. And here's the part that costs you something. The reason the door stayed shut this whole time. It was never them. It was never the ones who left. We're getting to who locked it. You already suspect. You're just hoping I don't say it out loud. Right about here is where you'd usually go quiet on this too. Close the tab. Protect your energy. You know the move. You've run it on everything that ever got too close to true. Run it now if you want. The diagnosis doesn't leave when you do. So who locked it? You've been circling that answer since the first message you left on read. It wasn't her. It wasn't the job. It wasn't the friends who moved on without a limp. You locked it. You turned the key from the inside. Then you threw it somewhere you'd always have an excuse not to reach. And you gave the whole thing a noble name. Sovereignty. Boundaries. Protecting your energy. Here's the clinical name for what you actually built. Protective custody. That's not a throne. That's the wing they seal a man into when the thing he's hiding from is contact. When being reached is the threat. You didn't rise above the world. You asked to be locked away from it. And you called the request strength. Ask what a man seals himself away from. Not enemies, not the mob at the gate. A man builds a cell to keep out the one thing that can still reach him. And for you, that was simple. People. Being seen up close. Being needed. And quietly afraid you wouldn't be enough for it. So you solved the risk by removing the door. Nobody can leave a man who never let them in. So let's be precise about the role you're playing. You took a job. Warden of a cell with one prisoner. And you're both. You lock the door every morning to keep the world out. You lie awake inside it every night, wondering why the quiet feels like this. You're not the warden of anything. You're the inmate who took the job and mistook the keys for a crown. Now, hear the man they quoted you. Marcus Aurelius built a fortress in his own mind. He called it the inner citadel. He went in to stay free, free from the mob, the noise, the flattery that rots a man from the middle out. You built the same walls, same stone, same silence. But you didn't go in to stay free. You went in to hide. Same fortress, opposite man. One walked back out sovereign, carried himself like a capital. The other's still in there, guarding a door the world stopped knocking on a long time ago. That's the tell. A free man can leave the room. You've forgotten where you put the key. So here's the thing nobody sold you, because there's no ego in it. Presence was never the weakness. You were taught the opposite, that needing no one is the summit, that the man who can walk away from anything has won. But look at what you actually won. A room, a lock, a quiet you have to keep defending. The strong man isn't the one who can't be reached. It's the one who can let someone in and not come apart. Anyone can leave. Leaving is the easy rep. A boy can slam a door. Staying open while it costs you something. That's the load-bearing strength. That's the one you've been avoiding by calling it beneath you. Picture the smallest version of it. One person in the room who never had to earn clearance. You say a true thing, and you don't manage their face while you say it. Nothing collapses. The ceiling holds. You were braced for a bill that never comes. That's the whole con undone in one breath. The danger you built a cell against was never that big. Here's the part that should loosen something in your chest. The door was never locked from the outside. No one is holding it shut. No one out there voted to keep you in. The bolt has always been on your side of the frame, under your own hand. Which means the walk out isn't a rescue you wait for. It's a move you make. And walking out isn't a decision you make once. It's a sequence you run, deliberately, in an order that holds. That sequence has already been laid out, end to end, for a man who's done improvising. You don't have to feel ready. Ready is not a feeling that arrives. It's a door you open first, and the feeling catches up on the other side. So here's your rep. Not a mood, a move. One person. One door left open longer than is comfortable. You already know the name. It surfaced the second I said it. You don't announce it. You don't explain the wall coming down. You just stop guarding for 1 hour and let one person reach you. That's the release. Not a feeling, an action. The first turn of a key you told yourself you'd lost. It'll feel like exposure. That's not a warning. That's the receipt that it's working. I've kept this clinical for a reason. The full case file, the whole procedure written out, is linked below. Read it or don't. The door stays exactly as locked as you leave it. If this named something you've been performing your way around, the follow is the standing order. The next case lands the way this one did. Now, go back to the start. The man in the car, gliding through the city, calm behind the glass, calling the distance power. Look at him again. He wasn't sovereign. He was in transit between the same two walls, mistaking the drive for freedom. The face said sovereign. The mirror told the truth. You've seen the file now. You know which man is fake. The only question left is which one you let out.